know what's going on ahead of time. So if they don't have the ability to walk around and sort of just see what's going on, it makes them a nervous wreck, and I understand that it makes them nervous too. So we want them to be able to see that. We will still have a scheduled pickup day in July, probably the first week of August actually, in which you will get your schedule. Then you'll find out who your teachers are. You'll be able to go to what classrooms they're in. So that's not tonight. What this is just sort of let you know some of the basic specifics of things we do here. We do everything pretty similar to anything that you've seen before, but it is middle school. So, get ready. They're going to grow up real fast because I can tell you right now, I said this a few years ago when I had daughters that was in elementary school, and now I got one in high school and one that's probably in 8th grade. So they do go really fast. So enjoy it. Middle school is fun. Middle school is crazy. Middle school is challenging. All those kind of things, but they're all great, to be honest with you. Because I have worked in a high school for a long time, and I chose to go down to middle school because I like middle school kids. Your kids will probably tell you that I'm crazy when they actually meet me, or they'll say that he don't have any sense, or he's running up and down the halls, or he's acting goofy, and that all that is true. So I apologize for that in advance, but I will say I do love my job. I love what I do. I love coming to work every single day, and I work with the greatest people in the world, so it's pretty fun. So a lot of times when we go home and take a break, I like to come to work, just to hang out and do the things I like to do, which is work in middle school, which is weird. That may say that I'm weird too, so I don't know. But, basically what I just said tonight is general information only. You can ask any question you want to know, because I know you're nervous about certain things, and if you ask them, we'll definitely answer them. But I will apologize in advance. We may not go over your question tonight, because really this is sort of just a warm-up to what you get to see in August, and then we have open house night later in August. So all that kind of stuff, you'll get to fill this place way too much. Right now you're thinking you need more. I promise you don't, because you'll get everything that you need. It will come to you. And one thing you will find out, as you probably already noticed starting yesterday, I like to email a lot. So I like to communicate a lot when it comes to that. So I think you got an email from me yesterday. You got one from me today. I promise you I'm not going to make you already listen to all my emails already. But as soon as July 1 comes, you will start getting emails from me right now, all the time. If you do not get emails from me, it's because we don't have your correct email address in iNow, which is now switching over to PowerSchool. We'll talk about all that later. But we don't have your email address, and if you just shoot me an email and say, hey, I'm not on the list, I'll make sure that I add you on the list. But also, that's sort of a good way to know when you come to do registration over the summer that we probably don't have the correct email on file, so you can get that up to date for us. That way we can communicate with you. All right, before I go too far, which I already have, I want to introduce some very key people. And I'm looking around the room, and every time I do this is a terrible idea to do because I always leave somebody out, and I apologize in advance for them to do that. But starting right here, you can see all these faces, and you'll see them online, you'll see them on the website, you'll see them in person. And this first lady, you'll see her at every single event in the whole wide world. You'll see her at a ball game, you'll see her at a band concert, you'll see her at a spelling bee, you'll see her at anything. That's Miss Angela Kirby. She teaches math here. So that's the lady right there, there's no way. And then Miss Siegel is next to her. She is our academic curriculum expert, coach, I guess you could say. She does it all. So if there's anything that you need to know, ask her. And then if she doesn't know, then you can ask me, and I'll tell you to ask her again. But she will know what's going on a lot of times. If you need anything, you can always email or call me. And I'll probably tell you to call her. So that's her. Back here, these are our great teachers. And they did not have to be here tonight. They chose to be here tonight to meet you guys and to meet your children and to be around your kids. So it's pretty awesome. But that's Julian Rosado. She's our science teacher. She's a legend. So if you don't know who she is, then you'll get to know her really soon. And then the legend right beside her is also Miss Michelle Martin. She teaches history in 6th grade. Miss Rosado teaches science. And the next is Miss Gilbert, who teaches math. She was with us last year. She likes to dress up in crazy outfits. So they do really cool things in there. So she dresses up like a unicorn today for some reason. But I like it. I do it a lot. But the next one to her is Melissa Ryle, no S. is right there. She is the English teacher in the 6th grade. Beside her is C.J. Ellis, who is our band director. He is fantastic. You'll see him around a lot. If your kids like to be in band, he will send out information soon about instrument selection and instrument pickup. I think we've already done a lot of that stuff, but you'll see that. And then beside him is Miss Teresa Brewer. She is all things computer/athletics/everything else. So if you need anything when it comes to Dragonfly, which your children do not participate in sports in 6th grade, they do it correctly, but they cannot participate for the middle school. Before you say that's a terrible idea, why do y'all do that? We're not allowed to. The state of Alabama says you have to be in 7th grade to participate in middle school sports. So unfortunately, 6th grade is now in the middle school, but not athletically, they're not. But we still have great summer programs. We have great recreational leagues, all that kind of stuff still going on. But they cannot play in middle school sports yet. But as 6th grade gets further along, we'll get to meet Ms. Brewer a lot because she will send a lot of information home about Dragonfly. If you know what Dragonfly is, what that is that tells us how you're eligible to play sports, with physicals and all that. And then beside her is our art genius, Ms. Michaelson, Ms. Megan Michaelson. So a lot of kids will have her. She is really good with art and likes to do fun, creative things with our kids, and she's really, really good. And I have worked in several schools, and I will say we have the best in every single area, and that's just my personal opinion. But we really do have some really good people who do a lot of good things, and they really like their kids. So, anything we can do to help you out, we definitely will. And so that's the people. Now, the people up here beside me, not more important, just closer to me. Miss Wendy Holmes, she is our school counselor. So anything you need when it comes to, and we'll go over that in a minute, scheduling, counseling, all those kind of great things that go along with the counseling department, that's Wendy Holmes. And also she likes soccer and football. I don't know why, I just put that in there, but I did. And then, new to our school this year, who has been a great addition and a great help to me personally, Mr. Coach Blake. He is right here. He is the assistant principal of the middle school, and he handles a lot of stuff. He's going to go over what he handles in just a minute, because if I go over the list, it'll be a lot longer and more comprehensive probably, and you probably don't listen to all that. But he's got slides. He will go over what he does. But he is going to be your first line of contact a lot of times for certain things. So when he tells you all that kind of stuff, just make sure you write that down. And then again, this is just the beginning. So we'll tell you again 100 times what all we do. See, I just went through all the slides. And then also, one thing that is really good at this school, and I will tell you, I've been at a middle school before I came here, and this is the first middle school I've ever seen that has a very active PTSO. At PTSO at this school, you're very involved in it in elementary school, and a lot of times at middle school, PTSOs sort of drop off, and they help a little, but they don't help a lot. But ours is fantastic, especially if you follow us on Facebook, you'll see all the great things. But this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we appreciate all of them every single day. But they really spoil us this week. So they give us all kind of great goodies and great treats, and one of the great people that is part of it is Miss Judy Gilbert, who's right here, but Miss Holmes is here. You want to speak? Okay. But one of our officers, or one of our PTO members is Ms. Judy Gilbert, but also Ms. Carmen. Right here is her email address. So if you want to get involved with the PTSO at the middle school, when you do get your child up here, which they're coming very soon, you can shoot her an email and just say, how can I get involved? How can I help out? How can I do anything to help the teachers and the students that go through this middle school? She can help you with that. And then, so now coming to the stage, which we don't have a stage, but Ms. Siegel, Ms. Holmes is really far. Okay, all right. So now you see that's like I always got to ask Ms. Siegel what I'm supposed to do. But I'll go to this slide. Because Ms. Holmes doesn't know yet, tell us she's going to do this. But one thing that is required now, I don't know if they did it necessarily in elementary school or not. They may have added it last year in 5th grade. But all students going into 6th grade are required to do summer reading. This is the reason why we just sort of put this out here in this meeting, is so you can go ahead, get your mind right about it. There is going to be a summer reading book this year, and it is called one of those 3 books. Out of my mind, that changed. Did that change? All right, that changed today. Okay, should I study? All right, so out of my mind, Fishing a Tree, and Restart. You can pick one of those 3. You do not have to read all 3. You do not have to read 2 or 3. You have to read one of the 3 books. And you have to complete one assignment. All that stuff will be on our school website. And you can see what the book choices are. You can see what the assignments are. But remember, August the 11th, when we come back to school, summer reading should be done in the summer. You read in the summer, you do your assignments in the summer. So therefore, when you come back to school, it's all done. A lot of times we'll have some kids that say they have no idea about summer reading, they didn't do it over the summer, and they want to do it in the winter. Well, it's not winter reading, it's summer reading, but we do actually do reading stuff in the winter as well, but that's still assignments. So please make sure that you know that, pass it on to your friends. We do have summer reading, it is required, and it will be a grade. So please make sure you do that. Like I said earlier, one of the main things that I love to do is send emails home. And so I send a lot of emails home. I send way too many emails home. I know that. You don't have to tell me that, because I know I do. But I do believe if you don't know what's going on, there's no way you can participate. If you don't want my emails, just hit delete. Just wait for the one that you want to read and read it. But if I send you information home, it may not pertain to you, but the next one might. So please make sure you look at them. Please make sure you at least just skim over them a little bit, and you can see what's going on in the school. And also, we have a very good social media group that keeps our Facebook up to date as well, our Instagram and our Twitter. Miss Weaver, I don't know if she's here, I don't think she is. Miss Kristen Weaver, Miss Siegel, they all put stuff on our social media. Miss Holmes, we put stuff on the social media all the time. So if you don't know what's going on and you're not getting my emails, first, contact the school so we can put you on the list, but also you can check Facebook, because we post something on Facebook daily. So if there's something that's going on at the school, we'll definitely put that up there. Like this meeting, I sent 2 emails. I think we posted on Facebook 2 or 3 times as well. So you should know what's going on at all times, we hope. School supplies, that's coming as well. Just like summer reading is something that you have to have over the summer, we do have school supplies. And they will be listed, and what we do is we try to keep it generic. It's not going to be classroom specific, so you don't have to wait for your schedule to buy school supplies. So you don't have to look to see, all right, my daughter's going to have Mr. Rosado for science, so therefore they're going to need this, and this. We get together, our teachers get together, they come up with a common list for our kids to buy, and what I will say is keep it simple when it comes to buying supplies. I know they're excited. I know in the summertime they love to buy a brand new trapper keeper. They love to buy a brand new 10 different notebooks. They love to buy 27,000 different pencils. But all that stuff becomes heavy too. So keep it simple. Know a lot of our stuff is going to be done on iPads, and iPads are the way for you to make sure there's an iPad in your book bag, of course. But also the other stuff, we need paper, we need pencil, all that stuff needs to be in there, but don't overdo it because that stuff is heavy, and they carry those little bags around all day, and that brings me to my last point on that is we do not have lockers at the middle school. You will see lockers when you walk around and say, he said that we don't have lockers. Those lockers don't work. Those are lockers. We don't use lockers. We use backpacks, we use iPads, we use supplies in our backpack, and we go to class. The one reason why we don't, everybody always asks me this question, why do we not? They do actually work. But the doors, if you look, the hallways are really not wide enough, and if you open the door to a locker and you have 500 kids with doorways open on their lockers, A, you have nowhere to walk. B, you have heads getting hit into them because they stand up and somebody's door's up over them. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but that hurts. So all that stuff is going on in those lockers, so we just do not have lockers. We don't use lockers, and we don't use bells here because bells are a distraction. But we do still change classes. Unlike a lot of other grades, we will change classes, but we all know what time it is. We know when to change classes for leaving. They're ready to change classes, so you don't have to worry about that. But they will be changed classes. Did I go too far? All right, so Ms. Holmes now is going to go over the electives.
All right, everybody. So the 6th graders have a certain set of electives that they're going to be assigned to the summer, and they'll get that on their schedule. And I know you made the request when I came over and spoke to students in 5th grade, and we're going to try and honor that request as best we can. Right now, our electives are makerspace, and for parents, if you don't remember what these were, I'll quickly go through some of the ones that aren't obvious, like makerspace. And makerspace is a lot of kind of hands-on science activities from the students. I know this year, spoke with the Prince, and they did a lot of things in there. They made their own Richter scales to simulate earthquakes, all the way to using the 3D printers in there to working on the cars for the green power team and the race team. So that class is a lot of hands-on science activities, and the kids love it. It keeps them busy in there the whole time. The next one is robotics, and in that class, that's Coach Ostrowski, and they use the DEX robotics kits in that class to make robots. In the past, we have been able to do robotic competitions. This year, they didn't get to do any, like the green power team, they didn't get to do any car races because of COVID, so we couldn't go do any of those field trips. But with the robotics team, they make robots, and then they use them, if you're on the robotics team, in competitions. And they do underwater robots and just all kind of cool stuff in that class. Again, a lot of hands-on things to get kids learning that way. Art, that's pretty obvious. They do a lot of things in there with drawing, learning about art history and supplies, and how to take care of everything in the 6th grade. They do sketches, they do watercolors, some pottery, so all kinds of stuff in all different mediums in there. Computer tech, that is Ms. Brewer's class, Coach Brewer, and in that class they learn about coding in the 6th grade, and then in the second half of the course they actually start doing some coding and writing some code, so it's a lot of fun. They also have, as they get into the older grades, they have teams that go compete with that. So all of these things can be done during the school hours and after school as well. And then band, Mr. Ellis, you've already met. The choir, we have a great choir here. And all those students will be here at the school. The teacher is at the high school, Ms. Michaelson, and she comes over to the students. And then they have, performances as well in the community. And then Gear Up, and that's an elective for the 6th graders, just to kind of get them ready and get them adjusted and go over with them all those things that they need to learn to be successful in school, like time management, study skills, and communication, and those types of things. So those are the electives that the 6th graders will have. As they get into 7th and 8th grade, more electives come open to them, like Spanish 1, your book, newspaper, peer helpers, office aides, and library aides. So the shots, I'm just going to tell you on this, that your child has to have this Tdap shot when they come. And if you need more information on that, please email our nurse. It's Jill Morgan at gspoe.org with any questions on that. But everybody has to be updated on their shots before you can start in middle school. So that one's due. If your child hasn't had it, please get on that over the summer. And scheduling. So a lot of times I have parents calling in with questions about scheduling for their students. And maybe they want their class schedule, their child's schedule changed because they're not with their friend in class, or they think the class is too hard, or for whatever reason. So a lot of times, I have to have this conversation, and sometimes it's not a fun conversation because you don't always get the answer that you may want to get. And I tell you, a lot of times when you come into middle school, your students come into middle school, it is different, and it is an adjustment. And if your student hasn't had to study up until now, when they get to middle school, it is a little bit different. And they are going to have to study. And sometimes it's a little bit harder. They might not make straight A's. There might be a lower grade somewhere there, and it's going to be produce a little bit of anxiety. And because of that, you might think it's too hard for them, and they need to get out of that class. But I'm going to tell you, we want you to stay. Because you got to make new habits. You got to learn those skills. You got to push yourself, because if we put you in the class, it's because we looked at all your previous scores, we looked at testing, we looked at your grades, and we think that you can do that. So you're going to have to push your student maybe a little bit more. Students, you're going to have to maybe study a little bit more than you have, because we're not going to take you out of something just because you initially aren't having success in it. So we'll offer you help. We'll provide all kinds of resources for you to help that. And I'm also going to tell you, when you call and ask me to change the schedule, I'm going to say, have you met with your child's teacher yet? Because a lot of times, a lot of confusion can be settled if you sit down with that child, with your child's teacher, and talk about what's going on in that class, so you can handle whatever issues are happening, or confusion, or get the help that you need for that subject. So schedules aren't really changed a whole lot, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right off the bat, unless there's some extreme need that we need to change it for. Okay? And Canvas, this one is Miss Eagle.
At the elementary school, they use Google Classroom. When you get here, we're going to use Canvas. So it's just a place that we put assignments, you turn things in, and you communicate with teachers. One of my favorite parts of Canvas is that there is a parent app. So there's a student app where the student can see all of their grades, all of their assignments, and all the things, but there's a parent app where you can see their grades for specific assignments. You can see the comments that the teacher left back on why they got that grade. You don't have to go through pages and pages of things. You can simply see the grades all in one spot. And you can also message the teachers directly through that app. That way, if you have any questions about what happened or why that 0 is there, it's all in the app and it's very easy to use. We also have a free after-school program here. Just like the elementary school, it runs until 5:30. We do things a little bit differently. I think that we have a lot more fun just because they're older and we can. So we do have tutoring, we do have homework help, we do have all of those academic sides, but we also have Green Power where they build electronic race cars, we have Robotics, we have Jedi Academy where they learn fencing style fighting stuff with lightsabers, and they have jousting type pads on. I don't know, it's this big thing and they all love it. We have art, we have theater, we have esports, all kinds of stuff that we do after school. It's a lot of fun. Registration for next year's after school will open on Friday, May 7th. So I think this Friday. If you are interested in virtual school or blended classes, please contact Dr. Nelson at snelson@dsboe.org. She is over the virtual for the middle and high school, so she'll be able to answer any of your questions or help you get set up with that.
Hello, I'm Coach Blake, and I'm the assistant principal here at Gus George Middle School. And just to reiterate something that Mr. McCartney said earlier, I've already been getting some emails about when 6th grade tryouts will be and things of that nature. But just because they're at the middle school does not mean they will participate in middle school athletics. The Alabama High School Athletic Association sets all of those requirements, and they do not start their AHSAA eligibility until the 7th grade. Okay, so this time next year, the current 6th graders will be transitioning into that period of time going into the 7th. So be aware that in that spring going into 7th grade is when tryouts and things will start. If you need any information about that, it will be found on the middle school website under the athletics tab, and that's where you can find the athletic packet, all the paperwork for eligibility and things like that that'll be turned in, but you won't have to worry about that this year. Transportation is one of the areas that I try to take care of. If you have any bus issues or bus questions, our transportation director is Marcus Early. His email is on the screen, mearly@gsboe.org. But there's a couple of things about transportation that I want to talk to the parents about. Once we establish the mode of transportation for your child, so if your child is turned into us as a car rider, or as a bus rider, or a walker, if there's any deviation to that normal routine, we need to be notified in the front office ahead of time. If I'm out on bus duty and a student is trying to board a bus and they hand me a little handwritten note at the time of boarding that says, please let such and such ride home with their friend today. We're not going to be able to do that unless we have some sort of prior notice with that. That's one of the biggest issues that we see when it comes to transportation. And the opposite of that is true as well. If your child is normally a car rider and for whatever reason they need to take the bus home today, if you'll just let us know, send an email, or you can call the front office and let the ladies up there know so that we're aware. we're going to make sure your child, well, it's our responsibility to make sure your child gets home safely. And the only way we can do that is if we know ahead of time if there's any changes to their normal transportation route. And if you are a car rider, we see this, it happens multiple times every week. You're running a few minutes late, or you're trying to drop your kid off a little early, and you try to come around to the back of the school by the bus drop to drop your child off in the parking lot. The city has done a phenomenal job of rerouting all of the traffic flow to make Carline much easier for everyone. If you were here in the past, then you know what I mean by that. But if you're a car rider, they must come through the car rider line to be dropped off. We don't have teachers manning the parking lot out here, and so for the safety of your child, please go through the car line. All right, our expectations. Cell phones. We have a progressive cell phone policy. The rule of thumb is if they're on campus, they should be turned off and in their bag. Anytime there's a cell phone that's taken up, and I call home to the parent, the first thing they say is, my child has to have their phone in case of emergencies. That's the only way we can get in contact with them. Absolutely, I agree. But the phone should be put away and in their bag and turned off. If there's an emergency that you need your child, you can call the front office and we will get them. You know, Coach, I was just texting my mom. Well, you were in the middle of a math class and you're having a test. It's very ironic that your mom texted you in the middle of the math test. So the general rule of thumb is, yes, that is your way to get in touch with them. If they're on campus, they should be turned off and in their bag. Okay, cell phones. We don't really have that big of an issue, but just so that you understand from us, if we take a cell phone up for use in school, it will be turned into the office, and the parent or guardian will have to come pick it up. It's not the child that could come by at the end of school and pick it up. Okay, if it's a second offense, then they'll actually go to OCS for a day, which is on-campus suspension. Third offense, fourth offense, and the consequences continue to go up. Okay. Yes, bring them, turn them off, and have them in their book bags. The student handbook is also on the GSBOE website. That is all of the dress code policy, the cell phone policy, all of the discipline policies and things of that nature are all found there in the student handbook. And that is what we go by when we're handling all discipline issues. There's class 1, class 2, and class 3 offenses, and there's class 1, class 2, and class 3 consequences for it. Okay, so you have access to all the information that we use when we're dealing with discipline. Normally, by the time it gets to us, they've already gone through the first, second, and third warning, which will be from the teacher, maybe a conference, face-to-face conference with a student, maybe a phone call home. Typically, by the time it gets to us, the teacher has already taken a couple of different steps. And depending upon the severity of the incident, they may have just a principal conference with them to try to curb their behavior. We also use on-campus suspension, at-home suspension, and anything worse than that, we'll be talking very frequently prior to that anyway. But rest assured that anytime that there's an official discipline handed to your child, you will hear from us. We will call parents to let you know. I know that as a parent, I don't want to be blindsided by anything, and so we really encourage having an open line of communication. So if even if I just have a talk with your child and I issue them a warning, I will still call home and let you know, hey, such and such was in my office today. We had a really good conversation about their behavior, and just want to let you know that we had a meeting today and I issued them a warning. We don't just give out punishment. Okay? Discipline is in place to try to curb the behavior so that we learn a lesson from the mistake we made and we don't repeat it. So that's what we're trying to bring about with that. We do have right now, up and down all the hallways, it's like driving a car. You know, as Mr. McCartney said, these halls are not very wide, and if you're just walking all over the place, we have accidents in the hallway. Right? Try to encourage everybody to walk on the right-hand side and make the space as user-friendly as possible. Maturity. I don't even know if that really goes with sixth graders or not, but that's what we're trying to help with. You know, this is my first time in middle school in 14 years. I did not remember middle school like this, but we're here to help your child. Okay, and you know the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we're in this thing together. We're here to support you, and we're asking you to help support us. Respect, you know, kind of the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's what we'd like to try to all live by. My email is mblake@gsboe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about that, please reach out to me and let me know.
Thank you, Coach. All right, so what we're going to do now is, I'm going to let you just sort of walk around, mingle around, see everything that you want to see about the school. Again, you don't know who your child's teacher is going to be yet, because I don't know yet either, to be honest with you. We have been working on the schedule, and we've been applying everything and putting stuff together, but that's not done yet. School's not even out yet, so don't think that I have a schedule ready to go for your child next year. I could probably make one up real quick, but you'll probably be right. But all you have to do is, I want to give you a little quick, I guess, narration about the school, but it's very easy. That's the good thing about the school. When you go out of here to your right is a lot of our electives. The robotics class, the makerspace class, the computer tech class, all of those are to your right. And you can see those right there. If you look in their windows, if the door's not open, some of the teachers are here, some are not. If you look through the windows, you can see all the cool things. If you look at Mr. Prince's makerspace class, you want to go back to middle school, you can't, but you're welcome to see it if you want to. And it's really cool things they do in there. Also, the robotics class, we actually, during COVID last year, we had the opportunity to tear that classroom down and rebuild it and modernize it. Really cool, very proud of it, and the rubberized floor is really neat. Unfortunately, with COVID, we haven't been able to have competitions, because we host a competition here every year for people all over the state come down here and compete. And we go all the way up to Huntsville, we go to Gadsden, we go all over, we go all those different areas to compete. So you can see how we train them for that. Also, those first class, when you go to your left down there, you will see the school building. I know you know all this stuff. But the school building is a square, so you can't get lost. If you think you're lost, just keep on walking, you'll come back to the front eventually. If you miss it, just keep on going, and you'll come back again eventually too. It's like a circle. But it is a square, and the way we sort of a lot of times talk about, a lot of our classrooms are on the west hall and on the north hall. So you can see all the academic classes on the west hall of the square and on the north side of the square as well. And then on the east side, you will see our band classroom, which is pretty awesome. You'll see our esports lab is down there, our cafeteria is down there, and our front office. When you go all the way down this hall, you'll see the front office on the right, and that is sort of the middle of the square on the south side. So just walk around, make yourself feel comfortable. You see a lot of the other stuff, but I just want your child to be able to feel like they know what's going on before they just pop in here and all of a sudden, like, I have no idea what's going on because I've been in that other school for 7 years. And this place is like a foreign land to me. It's not scary. It's not at all. It's very short, it's very small, it's very easy to figure out. And after your child, the very first day, is a nervous wreck. I promise you, by day 3, they'll act like they've been here for 3 years. So it is a good place. It is an easy place to figure out. They won't get lost. I've been at very large schools, and you could get lost at those schools. You can't get lost here. Like I said, you just keep on walking, and you'll come back to the front eventually. So I'll be around as well if you need to ask me any questions. I will be happy to talk to you. I'll be happy to answer any questions any of these teachers that